Hello, beloveds. It is I, Tahulla, said sign on another day of food prep. Ooh, let me turn that ring around. I had an order for some cantaloupe flavored sea moss. So as you know, we're gonna flavor it with honey, and I have some sea moss over there that is ready to do its final rinse and blend and everything. So I've got some cantaloupe here. So we're gonna talk a little bit. Do a little food prep. I'm gonna wash my hands again since I touched my nose. All right. Hopefully you all are doing well. And we'll go through a little bit of the process here. Some things will be off camera because obviously I just have the one going. And I'm gonna use our little blender here to make up a fresh batch. And then I will be able to stick labels on it. So cantaloupe, even Athena melons and things like that are in the same family. Those olden ways, so if you're ever looking at one of those old cookbooks and they ask for mushmelon, that's what it is. But cantaloupe is pretty easy. It's always better if it's a little bit on the ripe side. So this one is definitely ripe. How you pick a cantaloupe is when you're like, if you're in a store and you're not picking it out in the field, because definitely field fresh is really good. But say that you're at the store, usually they've been frozen, and you have to let them ripen before you cut them. Don't just try and take it home and cut it because they're frozen, they're under ripe, and you won't get the best flavor. So definitely I can smell the cantaloupe. It doesn't smell sour in any way. It's been sitting on my counter for about 4 days away from the sun. It wasn't hard when I got it. I did the thump test and had a low resonation. But you know, hey, I'm gonna move that over there because I'll be cutting up the pineapple too. Got the pineapple and the cantaloupe at the same time. Just set them on the counter and let them ripen because your pineapple should be orangey looking. Also, if it starts to look like it's got a little mold on the bottom, definitely you know it's ripe. If it's green, it's definitely underripe and it's gonna be sour as all shit. So I'm going to cut said mushmelon into a few big old pieces here. Since I am blending it, I'm not gonna cut them all in chunks and things and make it all neat. I may save some for myself to eat because I definitely like cantaloupe. Cantaloupe is great for hydration, it's great for digestion. Also, it's great for nausea. It helps with vomiting and things like that. So if you're ever nauseated and you're not allergic to melon, because some people are allergic to melon, go ahead and pick you up some cantaloupe. Quick story, years ago when I was working my ass off, I think I was probably in my early 20s. I had 3 jobs. I was literally running myself ragged, burning the wick at both ends. I thought I was just coming down with like some kind of weird allergies or head cold because, you know, from up here you get allergies at weird times of the year. Little did I know that I was getting what is called exhaustion. And the only how I'd ever heard about exhaustion was like Mariah Carey years ago canceled her tour because she said that she had exhaustion, she was in the hospital and things. And nobody really ever talked about exhaustion like that. I noticed a part where I pushed in on the melon to check and see if it was ripe. So I'm definitely gonna cut that away. All right, there's that. So, you know, most people, because nobody really talked about it when I was younger, said that it was all fake. Well, little did I know, that is legitimately something that you can get. Long story short, I ended up cutting my work shift short. I was training a person that day, went home, my body started convulsing, which has never happened before. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a car at the time. I called a couple of people to try and help me. Uber was not a thing. And I didn't have money for a cab because the nearest hospital was a county away. And lo and behold, one of my buddies who lived in a different county finally showed up after about 4 hours. Drove me to another hospital, which was about an hour away. When I walked in the door, They immediately got the crash cart for me. It was all these people. I was pumped with so much fluid. 11 hours later, they were able to release me to be home. If I wouldn't have walked in the door that day, I wouldn't be standing here right now. If my friend would have picked up earlier and got me there earlier, I wouldn't have probably spent as long in recovery time, because it took me almost 2 weeks to recover. And your girl didn't have insurance, and this is before like state insurance was a real big thing. They had to release me. They couldn't keep me a couple days. The only thing I was able to eat for a whole 2 weeks was cantaloupe. That was it. 2 cantaloupes a day, and that was very slow. So, because, you know, exhaustion is some shit. It really is. Like anything else I tried to eat, it didn't sit well. It immediately came up. Headaches and everything, even water was horrible. But cantaloupe and that medical team saved my life that day. And this is also another reason why, like, I've always been this type of person, but if one of my friends calls me and says that they need to go to the hospital, as long as I got fuel in my car, I'm going. I'm going. Because I have been that person who needed help and nobody wanted to come to my aid. But whenever they needed something, they always called me. But when I needed something, nobody showed up. So whenever my friends call, especially people that I know have medical issues and things, I always go. It was one of the things I said that when I got a vehicle, that's what I would do, and I've stuck to it ever since. Because, you know, hey, some people are like that. So I'm just, again, cutting these up into chunks, making sure, because it is soft, which is good, that there isn't any kind of like spillover or overripening and things. You definitely don't want to eat that part. Just cutting into large wedges here and removing the rind. You don't want to eat the rind. Now there are some soft spots, but I just want to make sure I don't get that. You know what I'm doing. All right. Let's get another little hole from where I poked it. Get that all the way. Removed all the seeds with a spoon. All right. And some other things that people will do, old remedies for, like if you have to vomit or whatnot, they will tell you to take, or if you have heartburn, to take a spoonful of brown sugar, and it'll help stop your gag reflex. And that helps a little bit. But brown sugar and even baking soda is a little bit better, like a spoonful of baking soda and water. Shake it up a little bit. That's a little bit better for like heartburn, you know? Like if you kind of get that kind of a little bit of heartburn, it helps, because one of the main ingredients in Tums is baking soda. So just keep that in mind. If you're out of Tums and you can take Tums, then do that, you know. You don't have to do them both together, the brown sugar and the baking soda, but if it's something that you have and you can do it, by all means do it. Because sometimes saltine crackers don't always do the trick. All right, so we have our little mushmelon cut up here. All right, that's all good. I'm gonna take a bit for myself. Honey, darling, yes, that's some good stuff. All right, so let's move on to the sea moss part, okay? So I have sea moss here in this glass, because I use glass, I don't use metal. You'll see other people that use metal, but I know that even certain things pull into each other. And because I use purified and alkaline water to soak my sea moss in to rehydrate it, it's going to be pulling minerals and things like that. So I don't use metal because it'll pull in the metallic nature. Since it's alkaline, it'll pull that into the sea moss, and I don't want that for people that are extra sensitive, because everybody's palate's a little different. People that are extra sensitive to metals, like even some canned goods. Even though it says BPA free liner, there's different versions of that BPA free liner. If it's not very thick, you'll still taste the metal, even if it's fresh packed. I'm one of those people that are very sensitive to metallic tastes when it comes to food and things like that, and even jewelry. So I try to be as safe as possible. Glass cleans really easily, and it doesn't really have any kind of anything on it. Ceramic, another thing, really good. But you know, your plastics and things like that, you kind of want to be a little different. This top lid is a BPA free lid, and it's just on the top, so I don't have to worry about that. But as you can see, my sea moss has a soaking. There's sea moss water on the floor now, so the cats are gonna have fun with that. Thank you, Mama Ocean, for blessing my floor. I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. I like to take out the limes and the lemons, give it a nice little one over squeeze. So we won't be using these anymore. Okay. All right. If you're a person who can compost, and even though I was told that citrus doesn't break down too well in compost, you can still do that. This would not be good for potpourri because it has been soaking in sea moss, and the purpose of the citrus fruits is to take out more of that fishy flavor and fragrance. The golden sea moss, because it is located deeper in the ocean, doesn't have as much of the fishy flavor and scent as the purple or the green. Now, also the other cool thing is that when it's soaking in the water, it gets the natural citrus oils from the rinds here as it soaks. And thank you. And you can see it's fully rehydrated. It smells wonderful because it just smells like lemon and lime. So if you're a Sprite person, that's exactly what this smells like. If you ever got the unflavored, unsweetened from me, that's exactly what it tastes like. It tastes like sea moss, and sea moss doesn't really taste like anything once it's been soaked and rinsed and soaked and rinsed and soaked and rinsed. But the citrus fruit combination makes it taste like lemon lime. And you feel free to either, do your spoonfuls accordingly or mix it into a smoothie. When you mix it in a smoothie, you definitely don't taste it. But yeah, so we were making this little sea moss here. All right. So let's go ahead and put that to the side. Well, actually, I'm gonna dump this out and then go get my strainer. And we'll get to blending. All right. Woo-hoo. Get the blender, getting ready to blend. And also, if you aren't in the Louisville metro area, Saturday I will be at the Lowe's Farmers Market on Preston Highway. So if it's located towards the Commerce Crossing area, it's a fairly new kind of Lowe's. It's been around for a few years, but they are having a farmers market every Saturday from 8 a.m. and I want to say it's till noon or 1. But I will be there with my sea moss, the other body care items that I make, some of the Devi wear jewelry. Feel free to stop by my booth. I'm not quite sure if I have a booth number yet. But you'll know I'm there because I'll be the one playing music. Just follow the Arabic music, baby. And if I'm not too tired, I'll probably be the loudest person there talking and laughing and having a good time. But yes, and there will be also a couple other people I know, like Tammy Turtle will have her jewelry there. She makes jewelry from crystals and gemstones and things like that. And, she does some intuitive jewelry as well. Also keep in mind, I will have the teas out for purchase. I've been creating my butt off here to make sure that I have enough in stock. So feel free to come on down. This way you save on shipping and get your sea moss, get your tea, get your deodorant, get the body soak, or the bath soak, the body scrub, jewelry, and all kinds of stuff. Feel free to say hey. You can also register for classes with me and find out more information. So, all right, so I have taken the sea moss out. This is what it looks like when it's out, okay? I'm gonna give it a nice, another rinse with some filtered water here. And again, some filtered alkaline water, so you'll hear some water running. Excuse me one moment. I'll do that. I'll do that over the sink. Move this out the way. All right. I'm just rinsing the sink out real quick with the tap water. Even though the tap water is filtered, the alkaline water is what I rinse with. All right. Nice little rinse. Another rinse. All right, and here we have it. Okay. Now the citrus does add a little bit more acidity, so it does make it a little bit more alkaline. For people that are kind of wondering, like, how do you have alkaline water? Well, I go and I buy it, but then, and that's what it soaks in and things like that. But still, you know, like the citrus also adds to the acidity. All right, go ahead and put a wrap of this open. All right, so I'm going to add gently my sea moss to the blender, giving thanks for the ocean, providing this beautiful, nutritious plant for us to be able to cultivate from the ocean, and that it makes its way to me so that I'm able to mix and blend accordingly per request, and also some fun fruit and herbal things that people like. Right. Now let's see. And I'm not adding the whole thing at one time. And a little bit more. Okay. Now, on to the honey. So let me go ahead and get the thing out for the honey. Do, 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 do. Also, I do make it sugar-free for people who are not able to have honey, you know, for diabetics. I don't use white sugar, not at all. But I can use agave, monk fruit, and coconut sugar if that's what people prefer to use. So I'm going to add a little bit of the honey. Not much. Don't take much. Especially since we have sweetness from cantaloupe. Okay. I'm going to add the cantaloupe. There's a seed. All right. And then I will add some more of the alkaline water. Now you can, if you're ever making this at home or if you've requested, you can add some of this. For the one I make for myself, I do add some of the last soap water because it does have more of the vitamins and minerals in this. But because I know there are some people that have the different palates and they're like, this doesn't taste fishy to me, okay? I love seafood, I love fish. I love regular seaweed and things. I would be able to tell, but this doesn't taste seafood or oceany at all. It doesn't even smell like it because of the citrus. But I'm gonna add a little bit of the liquid here. It's not even that much for this whole thing because you can always add more liquid. The cantaloupe itself has liquid in it, and then the sea moss, since it's rehydrated, has some as well. And with a high-powered blender, You don't have to add that much liquid. Okay, all right, turning the big baby on. All right. And we're gonna do it on medium, and then we'll go up to high to make it blend really, really smooth. More thanks and thank you, divine universe. May those who consume this and purchase this be blessed and healthy and all that they need. All right, now I do need a little bit more water in here. Remember that? Add a little bit, as much as you need. Okay, just a little bit more water. Not too much. And we're gonna go up to high. Break out our little spatula here. Get the long one. Again, I'm not using metal. Ooh, that looks delicious. Okay. Real good. Okay. I'm gonna move around and got one hunk of cantaloupe that did not blend all the way. So moving that back down a little further in the mix here. Pushing this down. All right. I'm gonna add just a touch more honey. Just a touch. Over there. Put the lid back on. Wash my hands. Washing my hands because that part dripped on the outside and I scooped it up with my finger. It's on the outside, not the inside, because, you know, that would be gross. Be gross to do. All right, back on high. There we go. Let's check the consistency here to make sure that it is good. No lumps and chunks, which usually this blender is pretty good about doing that. Now with the sea moss itself, even though it is blended up fine, it'll have a consistency of that of which is like applesauce. So the texture of applesauce is what you should expect. Now for different fruits and things that are more fibrous or have seeds in it. Like whenever I make the raspberry or blueberry ones, because the blueberry and raspberries have seeds in them, it will have a little bit of a different consistency just because the seeds are in there and they're being, you know, ground up. But yep, this looks just like applesauce, but it is sea moss and blended really fine. So kind of like baby food, that kind of thing. Super smooth. But just keep in mind, also like the apple cinnamon one that I make, because I use real cinnamon and not previously ground cinnamon. It'll have that extra texture to it from the cinnamon being ground up. Okay. So now we're gonna get this ready for the jars. But yep. Put it on my finger just to make sure that, yeah. Checking the texture. Flavor's good. Oh yeah. Honey always does amazing. Okay. Now for me, I like to pour through the lid. So I get yay far down and then I'll scoop it out. All right. And the other thing is that when I make this, and also when I'm at the farmer's market, I freeze these. Okay, so they have to be kept cold. And with them being kept cold, after they thaw, then they're good to consume over the next 3 weeks. I will write the date on when I make them, because a lot of times I do make these things in bulk, but this one was a request and I was able to get my hands on some organic cantaloupe to make this request happen. So let me go ahead and fill up some of the other jars here, and I'll put labels on them. These are previously frozen, will be previously frozen. When I ship them, they are frozen and then shipped cold with ice packs as well. Please watch for the tracking number, because, you know, you don't want to have your item just sitting there and nobody come and collect it after it's delivered. All right. Cantaloupe. Okay. All right. Ooh. Now these do expand when they freeze too, because, you know, water does that. And I made the mistake one time of making some and filling them all the way to the brim, and then the lid wouldn't fit on. The lid popped off in the deep freeze, which really sucked. Little messy. So that. Okay. All right. Another towel. Clean up the mess, put the lids on, and then I have enough for myself of this flavor. Yay. Put my jar, put these aside. The jar for myself. Right, so there's my jar. You know what? I just have a little bit more of the sea moss here. So I might just toss another cantaloupe in here and just finish that out and make one more jar. Let me do that. Okay, so pushing that down. Maximum yield is always good. Let's go ahead and just do that. Put the remainder of this sea moss in there. Thank you, thank you. Still smells so good. Just taking the lid all the way off. Smells so good with that cantaloupe and the honey. So good. Stick that in there. This, I think I have just enough honey for this little bit. It's another reason why I love these spatulas, because they really do, the little silicone spatulas really do get everything off the sides and stuff. You can scoop really well with them. The flexibility is nice. So if you're not a person who has used the silicone spatulas, get one. At least one, just try it. Okay, so I think that should be enough there. Let's add a little bit of that water, which will help me finish out this jug. Boop. There we go. Not too much, just a splash, since there's not much going on in this one. All right, stick the lid back on. All right, turn this back on. Same process. Thank you. Let the people who are able to purchase and consume this feel blessed and enjoy and all that they need. Starting at medium, we go head on. Give it a few moments for that to cool off the motor. And so I like to write the date on all these before I put labels and stuff on them, and what it is. So today is the 9th. And if for some odd reason, because like frozen wise, this is a cool thing, is like once it's made into the gel, which I just have to stick it in the fridge for a little bit, it'll start turning into the jelly part of the gel. And then I stick it in the freezer, because you don't want to just take something that is room temperature and straight into the deep freeze whenever it is glass, because it'll crack the glass. But I write the label on them because say that I make a whole bunch in bulk. These are good frozen for a year. So as it gets close to that year mark, definitely want to consume it. But if you haven't, just know it's good to the day for a year. Don't use it after a year, because just like how anything that you put in the freezer, it has an expiration date. You know, believe it or not, meat sometimes, depending on how it's frozen, has a life expectancy of 3 or 6 months once it's been deep freezer. Sometimes you can get 2 or 3 years out of it, depending on how you freeze it. You know, what did you do to it before you froze it? Kind of things like that. But yep, writing the date on here. And we'll get some more jars. And these are gonna go in the fridge real quick. Excuse me, kitties. Stick this on high one more time. those jars. Now, what else can you do with the water? Well, you can water your plants with them. You can toss it out. On the 26th, I will be doing in the Goddess Life Sisterhood creation class, as this month we are discussing all the awesomeness of the Hawaiian mama goddess Pele, the goddess, the volcano goddess, fire goddess, creation goddess. So I will be showing people how to make a clay hair and face mask, and we also will talk about black salt too. I will be showing people a couple different ways. So for me, I will be using a little bit of sea moss water to make the face mask, because that's the other cool thing about sea moss. Whether you have a fruit blend or just plain itself, you can use it by itself as a face mask. Like even in the jars that I sell, if you want to take it a little bit out, let it get room temperature on your hands, rub it on your face, let it set for a little while until it's almost dry. Then wash your face. It helps put those nutrients and minerals into the skin and helps boost collagen and stuff like that. But I found that even using a sea moss water, you can do that too. Now, I would not suggest leaving it in a large container like this. Take some out, okay, and separate it into something else. Put it in the fridge and it'll last a little while. But you know, yep, I'll be using a little bit of this, but then also I'm going to be showing people how to just do it without sea moss water, because not everybody has that. But if you are a person that makes your own or has the dried version and you're kind of wondering what you do with all that, you can water your garden. I would not give it to pets, but definitely you can water your garden. If you're a person who likes to do different kinds of ceremonies to Mother Nature, you can always, put it out and bless your land or whatever with it. Don't put it in the aquarium. Remember, it's got citrus in it, and even if you didn't do the citrus soak, be mindful you don't want to change your aquarium pH. I would not put it in pools. Don't do that. No hot tubs. No. There was something where I read where you can put it in your bath water. I wouldn't do that. Especially if you are a person who has a vagina that is self-regulating. You don't want to change your pH. This has citrus in it. And even if it didn't, just no. It just because the sea moss comes from the ocean. This is not ocean water, okay? Like, ocean, you be fine. But no. Just don't do that, okay? All right, well, I am going to bottle that up, and my cats are looking at me like, you need to feed us while you're making this video. So stay tuned. Be sure to go to the Devi Dance Studio website, book classes, find out more stuff of what I'm doing, check out the events, and always go to the Goddess Life Sisterhood Network. I have a direct link on my affiliate page for that so that you can sign up and definitely take my class. All right. That again is on the 26th of June at 5 p.m. on Goddess Life Sisterhood exclusively. And I hope to see you there. Thank you for this beautiful session. And also like, click, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you in the next one. Bye for now.